Hello everyone, welcome to the Valley, where Norwich City have lost their final pre-season friendly of the summer. 1-0, scrappy second half goal. It appeared to catch a bit of a deflection and that wrong-footed Tom Krul. It came on the counter and in amidst a midfield that was probably giving away a rather too much space for a lot of this afternoon's friendly. I think at Luton I kind of didn't really, I admitted I don't like pre-season because, you know, Norwich play really well, you can get carried away with it. Kind of flip side here, Norwich were pretty awful in the first half, if truth be told. They gave the ball away so easily. They did it in really bad areas. They got caught out a lot of the time and looked very second rate against you know, promising Charlton side is probably the best way of putting it, but again not their completely full strength side. They of course also start their campaign, League One, next weekend. But you know, Norwich had two big training sessions before today. They got here late because of an accident. All sorts of things that happen in pre-season that don't happen in league games happened, and sometimes that can be hard to judge. What it of course does is it makes sure everyone's aware that Norwich can't just rock up and expect to get good performances. You know, sometimes Norwich have picked up wins in pre-season and everyone's decided everything's okay, and it hasn't been. So I guess from that point of view, Norwich have lost. It's disappointing and people will probably be a bit upset by that, and it means everyone can move on and they can maybe spend a bit of a week analysing that ahead of Birmingham, of course, at St Andrews. Championship kickoff next Saturday. We will be there, PinkUn.com, for live coverage, and of course we'll have all the build up too. What I would say is that the starting lineup today didn't really surprise me, because it feels like the one that Daniel Farke would probably like to go with at Birmingham. Morris Leitner starting, a sort of a 4-1-4-1 again, so one holding midfielder, which I'm a little bit worried about still, because that got unpicked very easily away from home early last season. Tom Treibel was okay, but he's not as good at doing the sole defensive work of one person. I think he needs to be in a two in terms of holding wise. So, and I think that's kind of symptomatic of the problem with the goal today. Louis Thompson came on later, as did Emi Buendia, and both put in. They showed more purpose and dynamism, and they were much more lively in those short few minutes than a few players were in the whole previous 60 whatever minutes it was until they came on. James Husband struggled at times in that first half as well, and Norwich defensively were a little bit all over the place. Felix Paslak, I'm going to need to start seeing a bit more from him, because he was okay and got up in the odd attack, and Norwich didn't really have many that were really clinical and incisive, but defensively he was caught out by pace, and for someone who's got pace himself, and again the introduction of Ben Marshall after half time provided a lot more sort of impetus, as it did with Marco Stiepermann in bits. The thing about Ben Marshall, this is going to be a new go for him at right back, so when he comes up against a right winger, we'll really be able to see how he can defend and what he's got in terms of coping with that situation. No Jordan Rhodes, of course, he was injured. Timu Pukki was busy enough, and likewise Dennis Trebeni. So bits and pieces from them too. Ben Godfrey and Christoph Zimmermann were the defensive partnership in that second half, just kind of reiterating where Ben is clearly being considered for this season ahead, and he did well again actually. So I don't know if we learnt much more. It kind of raised a few more questions possibly than answers. Anel Hernandez did have the ball in the net in the first half, but it was disallowed for offside, and Norwich had a couple of good moments in the second half, especially late on after they went a goal behind, which again woke them up. Which again it has a different meaning in the Championship compared to in a pre-season friendly. Todd Cantwell looked bright as well when he came on too. So we could try and read things into them, but I'm not going to bother, because ultimately if Norwich do a lot of these things at Birmingham, then we'll see it, and Norwich will get a bad result off the back of it. But of course they've got a proper week to prepare. Birmingham have got their own issues, and there'll be some really interesting questions that will get answered even by way of the first day of the season when Norwich head to St Andrews. We'll see what we get. I don't think there's anything particularly new. No one really appeared that we expected to. Obviously no Nelson Oliveira, they want to sell him. We didn't see Ivo Pinto, Jamal Lewis, Alex Tettey, who are all still going to be digging into pre-season. But yeah, some promise from Louis Thompson. I would start with him personally, and as soon as Emi Buendia is fit, he goes in my 11. I just not sure where, but he definitely goes in. Bright spots from Kenny McLean again, did okay, but that first half showing will have certainly sharpened a few minds ahead of Birmingham, the big kickoff championship. PinkUn.com/live next Saturday. Me and Dave Freezer will be there. We'll bring you all the live coverage. I'll see you then.